The good news is we don't have to do this alone. I'm here. Tucker's here. Presumably, if you're hearing this, you're here. Thank you, genuinely, for being here for a special edition of Everything Else with Joshua Brisco. I am Joshua Brisco. A huge thanks to our friends at Cannabis. I have such a cool thing to tell you about a little bit later in today's show that I'm actually so excited about that I can't get to yet because we've got to, fittingly, day after Thanksgiving, we've got to eat our vegetables first. Ugh. I thought I was going to be in a pretty good headspace to do this show. I woke up feeling okay today. Not great, but I woke up feeling okay. We had a long pregame on the Chiefs Radio Network, long halftime, a shorter post-game show. I felt like I had gotten some of my feelings processed, some things were settling into place a little bit. Life moves on, even though, of course, we hadn't gotten very far away from that game yesterday. Chiefs lost. Sorry if I'm breaking that news. Cowboys won on Thanksgiving, 31-28. Weirdly, wasn't that close for a while. Weirdly, the Chiefs should have won that game. It's all a matter of perspective, I suppose. And I'm going to be honest, as the music was rolling in here, I actually reached to the volume knob on my microphone to just turn it up a little bit. Because I feel like the louder I am in my own headphones, the more alive I'm going to feel, the more I'm going to remember that we're doing a show right now, and the more I might be able to stay on task. Because this isn't, I'm gonna throw a twist on something Tucker and I were chatting about earlier. Everybody wants a podcast until they're 500 on Thanksgiving, And then sometimes you gotta show up and do that. I was talking about this right after postgame yesterday with the Chiefs Radio Network guys, and a huge portion of that crew has just been there for an incredibly long time and has just done this year after year after year, and I like to think that the product reflects that, right? Just a crew of absolute pros. And most of them, one of them said, hey, we've done some meaningless games before, right? Back in the day, you get late in the season and you're not in the mix and you still got to show up and you got to do the shows, right? And it kind of dawned on me in that moment. I have done a lot of post-game shows. I have done a lot of Chiefs content for a good decade now. And I've never done that. I've never done a meaningless post-game show. The worst it ever gets is a postseason loss. And in the Mahomes era, the worst it ever gets is an AFC Championship game loss. And among other things here, I will make abundantly clear, the AFC is sprinkled all up and down Tucker's trademarked ass list, and rightfully so. I wasn't really going to watch much of the Thursday night game, considering just my feelings about the sport of football yesterday. Just tougher after a loss and disappointed about where the team's at. I ended up turning it on the second screen, and I went, wait a second. The Ravens have scored 14 points against the Cincinnati Bengals defense? It makes sense that Joe Burrow's back and that the Bengals look a little bit better. I'm not surprised that the Ravens defense isn't any good, but I wasn't expecting 14 points against Cincy. One of the worst defenses we've all ever seen in the modern NFL. Anyway, it's a bizarre year in the AFC. The Chiefs and Ravens, and then to a slightly lesser extent, but largely similar extent, the Buffalo Bills. Your top three teams in AFC playoff odds coming into the year. All three of those teams are hitting their unders. And at least two of those teams are in really, really bad places for a chance at a playoff spot. It's actually funny. The fourth team in preseason AFC odds, according to numbers I pulled from Pro Football Reference earlier today, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're not all going to miss the playoffs, probably. Again, the Bills are on the right side of the cutoff there. And look, here's the annoying thing. I know it's It's going to sound insane. If the Chiefs beat the Texans next week, they're going to jump the Texans. I guess they could beat the Colts and give themselves a little bit of wiggle room, but the Chiefs going to have the head-to-head over the Texans. I have to acknowledge the season is very much technically still alive, and it might end up being later and later into December before those games become mathematically deciding if you're in or if you're out. But we're going to talk more about that on Monday, I think. And in the meantime, I guess I'll ask if that, what you saw yesterday, feels like a team that's about to win 5 in a row. Because that's the thing. I really, there is still a path here. There is still a path that we look back on this show today and go, holy smokes, we were so low after Thanksgiving. And then they won out and made a playoff run. I still believe right now, if the Chiefs win every game from here on out, I do think they end up on the right side of the playoff picture. And if they win 5 in a row, we're going to be talking about that wild card game going, well, you know, you got Mahomes off 5 wins in a row, and now it's just win or go home every week. They locked in for that 5 games down the stretch. This right now, and for a little while, has not looked like a team on the verge of making a run like that. This is a team that needed overtime to get past the Colts on Sunday, and that's the only game in the last 4 that they won. They're 1-3 for their last 4, already knowing that they were in a tough spot. In the Bills game, it's the Bills game. You know, regular season against the Bills, it happens. But these last 3, really tough. And yesterday they had an opportunity to take some of those good vibes and some of that positive momentum from beating the Colts. We talked about it. Hey, it was nice to see 2 things in that win over the Colts. You saw an unbelievable close to that game by the Chiefs defense, and you saw the Chiefs offense do just enough. Well, yesterday the offense did not do enough, and the defense did not ever have a stretch like the one they had to close out the 4th quarter in overtime against Indy. The look ahead to the Texans and their incredible pass rush gets really bleak on the injury front. I'll tell you what we know on Josh Simmons and all of that here in a little bit. Tucker says, to answer some of the playoff percentage questions, Tucker says, per James Palmer, in the Athletics playoff simulator, the Chiefs right now have a 44% chance to make the postseason. Really? That feels, emotionally, that feels high. Because of how I feel about the Texans game, more from Tucker, from Palmer, from The Athletic. Love that game of telephone. Credit all the way down. With a win versus the Texans next week, it'd be 56%. With a loss to the Texans next week, 16%. So, hey, they can't beat the Texans and Chargers and Titans and Broncos and Raiders next week. It's just Houston. Seems like that's almost certainly going to be without Josh Simmons. Probably without Trey Smith. Maybe without Juwan Taylor. Whew. Tough. I think the worst thing from a whiplash perspective was that this game started perfect. It was the exact inverse of Chiefs-Colts. This Chiefs defense that just doesn't force very many turnovers. They get a quick interception that turns into a quick touchdown. And I was thinking about the playoffs. I mean, mostly I was thinking about like just locking this game down. It was like, oh my goodness. Oh, thank God. You know what? That Colts game wasn't a mirage. That Colts game was the start of something. Look at them now coming out here, picking off Dak Prescott. Little safety blitz, make a hurried throw, picked off by Jalen Watson. The offense punches it in. All right. There we go. And it just didn't last. Didn't even last at halftime. Cowboys were up at the half. The title of today's show, Typical Issues, Doom Chiefs and Lost to Cowboys. is pretty carefully chosen because I don't think I've seen anybody through the chat so far say something like, I can't believe they lost this game, or I can't believe how they lost this game. I can't believe that these problems were the thing that cost them yet another one. And potentially, I can't believe these are the things we're going to talk about after the season and go, that's where they fell apart. I don't think there's really any cause for confusion. I think it is the typical issues, which in a lot of ways is more frustrating. I'll come back to this game in a second, but I had this thought earlier. Maybe let's put a pin in this. Tucker, if you can, if this sparks anything for you, we can talk about this later. If this year's team went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Eagles, and last year's team would have missed the playoffs, I think I would have felt okay. Last year they just have all the bad luck in the world. You lose Hollywood, you lose Rashee Rice for the rest of the season. You lose Isaiah Pacheco. The left tackle situation's a nightmare. Last year they overachieved despite their circumstances, which I think both demands a little bit of like respect and appreciation, because the Chiefs have overcome their own issues many times over the course of these last several years. But this year, it's like, well, hold on. You don't have the obvious issues that should have derailed last season, which is frustrating because you're having worse results in better circumstances. Here are the typical issues: third downs, penalties, pass rush, offensive disappearance for stretches of the game. Be honest, I wrote those 4 bullet points down as the intro was playing. I talked about this game yesterday. I've thought about it since the moment I left the radio station. Those are the things we talked about last night. But it's just right there at the surface, man. It's just that stuff. I'll give you the third down and some of the punt situations in a minute. While we're here, I think everyone in the chat today has been good. Appreciate my mentions were okay from what I saw. It's hard. I got a lot going on during games, but I'm sure I missed some bad complaints. Go ahead and note right now. Terrible day of refereeing. Terrible. And not just Chiefs Cowboys. Thanksgiving. All 3 games had massive refereeing swings for no good reason. Simmons, that hold when he just sunned the pass rusher, terrible penalty. The Xavier Worthy OPI, terrible penalty. The OPI on Zay Flowers last night, terrible. Non-calls on the Cowboys, non-call on Jamar Chase. I only caught bits and pieces of Packers-Lions. I saw clips of the refs missing obvious stuff there. This is the mandated portion of the show when I say the refs hurt the Chiefs yesterday because it's just kind of random who they point the gun at. Somebody's getting harpooned in almost every NFL game because there's no consistency from the refereeing, there's no cohesion, and there's no real path for it to get a whole lot better, so it seems. Some of the replay assist, that helps a little bit. We got virtual measurements now. Thank God, that saved us a lot of time. Refs don't know what holding is. They don't know what pass interference is. They don't have the benefit of replay like we do at home. Also, you can tell in real time. I think it was McDowell that mentioned that George Karlaftis got held on the 2-point conversion very obviously. You can see this stuff in real time. I guess I don't know how to fix it. I've made offers before. The NFL hasn't picked it up. I think you could solve a lot of refereeing problems with one ref in the booth, one more down on the ground level, and a couple pairs of AirPods. But I understand that the NFL is really pinching pennies here, so we're just going to let refs be a story forever. It's talking about the ref sucks when the Chiefs win. Talking about the ref sucks when the Chiefs lose. my official stance, to be clear, is that NFL refereeing is in a deeply unhealthy place right now. And they're not pro-Chiefs. They're not pro-Cowboys. They're not pro-Ravens or Bengals or Packers or Lions. They're a mess. And you just scattershot, you're gonna get hit. Your team's gonna get hit. Your team's gonna get help. It's just gonna happen. Jeremy in the chat says Blandino telling Josh Simmons how to play tackle instead of saying it was a bad call was crazy. I don't hear the TV broadcast. I hear the radio broadcast, which has been good for both my mental health and my football knowledge. Talk about things that are in a bad, unhealthy place. Good grief. It's just bad. So I wanted to mention that it's bad. And I also would tell everybody, not worth opening any of your conversations with, well, if the refs just hadn't missed those calls. There were some terrible calls. There are in every game, every week. The Chiefs didn't overcome theirs. The Cowboys overcame a couple. It is so disappointing that rules enforcement is like the one thing the NFL seems to have largely given up on improving. It's really baffling. I would love to see somebody with a little bit of creativity and maybe an expert from some other area of the world. I don't know. There has to be a better way to fine-tune some of this. I digress. It is not nearly the most important thing from this game. I just knew we'd talk about it at some point. It's just baffling. Just that, like, a level of organizational incompetence is just, for, this multi-billion-dollar industry, so frustrating. But let's talk about some of the specifics. We can go to the third down numbers here. Sam McDowell, the Kansas City Star. I'm going to quote him on a few things here, actually. McDowell tweeted, "The Chiefs have punted on 4 straight possessions. All 4 drives have reached at least the 48-yard line. 3 punts from plus territory." At 6:35 p.m., McDowell tweeted, "The Chiefs' defense is now forced 3rd and 7 or longer 6 times. Dak Prescott, 6 for 6, 94 yards, touchdown, 5 first downs." One more from McDowell. "The Chiefs have blown 3 fourth-quarter leads in 52 days, after spanning 738 without blowing any. In their other 3 losses, they had at least 1 fourth-quarter possession with the chance to tie or take the lead." This is a little bit of a cheeky lower third for my dear friend Nate Taylor, who I think has given up this fight this year. I think we have a total victory. But real football didn't start on Thanksgiving. And now it's about too late. Not entirely too late, almost entirely too late. Officially. Honestly, I'm not as mad about the punt situations as I probably would have been a year or 2 ago. I don't know why. I wasn't really surprised most of those. I think one of them in real time, I was like, really? I think the one that seemed like the worst decision was the one after Mahomes had hobbled off kind of gimpy. And so in that moment, I didn't know what his health was. And so I think that was the time when it was like, this isn't a good decision, but Mahomes might be trying to shake something off, ankle, groin, whatever. So maybe I think that was the one that I was prepared to be frustrated at and then was a little bit nervous about Mahomes. Between the punt situations, all the penalties, your regularly scheduled drive derailing, slow-moving, cross-formation, Kareem Hunt shotgun handoffs, it just hasn't felt in a while like it's time for real football. Like it's time for aggression, as if you're a team whose playoff life hangs in the balance. And the Chiefs have been that team for a while now. I understand how Andy Reid has been in a mode over the last several years of thinking, and he's not been terrible at this for what it's worth. He's had some moments where the 4th down aggression's been okay. But I understand how you think, hey, you know what? We got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on this side. We got Steve Spagnuolo and Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie. Tough day for him. On the other side, you know what? Let's just play our game. This is what happened last year, frankly. Let's play our game, and at the end of 60 minutes, our game is probably going to end with us having more points than your team because our game is better than most. And that's been true. That's been factual. Not this year. And so I don't even have like an urge for some sort of big dramatic swing. I wish this team felt like it had accepted its sense of urgency earlier. And like there's been too much confidence put in too many places. The other typical thing, one of the other typical things, I've given you the stats on third downs. You know what's up with the penalties. Again, we talked about the refs, and yeah, when a first down becomes actually 1st and 20, life gets harder instantly. We know this. I don't think anyone needs, I don't know. Breaking news, folks. Going backwards makes going forwards harder. Check that one off the list. I don't know what else to say about the pass rush. I know we're in like eulogy territory here. Yeah, not entirely there. But like, Jackie said, what happened to the cold-blooded killer chiefs? The pass rush is a great way to ratchet that up. We got a great Chris Jones game 4 days prior against the Indianapolis Colts. Did Dak Prescott ever seem bothered to you after that initial interception? Was there ever a moment when it felt like he wasn't going to have time to decide Lamb or Pickens, Lamb or Pickens, Lamb or Pickens, Lamb? Or more likely, Pickens. Man, his resurgence is so frustrating to me in a way that doesn't matter. I'm also kind of happy for him. Kind of like, feels like he'll still have his George Pickens moments, to be clear. But like most of the time, every time a questionable Steelers wide receiver gets away from Mike Tomlin, they freak out and implode in a very visible way. Pickens is actually, it seems like he's finally home. It's like finally in an offense that uses him properly, and he seems to be with it. And I don't know if I want to pay him $30 million a year, but damn good football player. Always has been. Astronaut meme. I don't really want to make any one of these individual games a total indictment or totally about George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu, Mike Dana, Jerry Tillery, whatever. Christian Fulton was inactive again. That money, I mean, obviously, just like you're getting none of that back. I'm trying to think of a kind way to frame that. I don't know that I can. You made a big bet on crypto in 2021, and it was a fart coin or whatever. Tough. But with the resources allocated the way that they did, I liked bringing back Charles Omenihu. He's had some moments. George Karlaftis was a good draft pick, and he's a good player. Maybe that contract will be okay as the money comes around. It's a semi-reasonable market value for about the type of player he is, but he's got to have somebody else opening that up for him. And Chris Jones has been good this year. He's been the best defensive lineman on this team by a healthy margin, but he hasn't been total explosion takeover Chris Jones. Not every step of the way. Ashton Gelati seems like he's going to be a fine player. Omar Norman-Lott battling injuries all year and then ends up out for the season after only being around for a handful of games. Not to keep digging this name up, but Felix Anudike-Uzomah was a long-term plan for how to bolster the defensive end group from the draft pick. He ends up on IR before getting the roster cutdowns. Linebackers did not have a good day on the ground or through the air. It's tough. It's really tough. You know, it's also kind of frustrating. I think that was probably the best special teams game of the year. Like, Matt Araiza was dropping them in the 5. You got a couple nice returns. Got a little Brashard Smith action out there. I haven't looked to see like the starting field position and everything, but felt like special teams went pretty well after that had been a huge problem for a huge chunk of the season. We'll do the injury things after I bring Tucker in, and we'll kick it around there. But here's the like frustrating thing Andy Reid says post game every single week after every loss that I know leaves you frustrated because I see your tweets. They were that close. It is a bunch of fine margin games. I understand the underlying stats and all of that. It really is very close. A couple of third down stops from the defense, a couple third down conversions. Maybe you take those bad penalties and keep them in the ref's pocket. Few of those moving parts, 1 or 2 sliding doors. The Chiefs win in Dallas. It's 2 wins in a row when we're checking the pathway to a playoff spot. It really is that close. But you got to go get it in those moments. That's why last week was exciting and important. They had the moments. They had to go get it, and they got it. Again, the stat from McDowell. The Chiefs have blown 3 fourth-quarter leads in 52 days after spanning 738 without blowing any. And their other 3 losses, they had at least 1 fourth-quarter possession with a chance to tie or take the lead. 3 fourth-quarter blown leads, 3 other losses with at least 1 fourth-quarter possession with a chance to tie or take it. It's a game of extremely fine margins. When you miss those margins, you're 6-6 on Thanksgiving. It is a beautiful, complex, complicated sport that sometimes ends up with pretty simple explanations. Doesn't make it any easier, doesn't make it any more fun. It's the cause for optimism for a few games left. But there is no more runway, and there is no more margin for error. I'm genuinely, big picture, stunned that that's where we're at on Black Friday, November 28th. If you had told me that in the preseason, I would have asked you what week Patrick Mahomes got hurt during. It would have been my only real path. Oh, God, Rice got hurt again. Simmons never played. Like, what happened? And it hasn't been anything that dramatic. It's just been a bunch of dramatic weeks one after another. I'm going to lift my spirits by also lifting your spirits. I'm going to tell you about Kansas City Cannabis and a very specific offer for you. Yes, you. I've told you about the deals that they were going to have coming up for Black Friday, which is today and ongoing today, and the deal for Cyber Monday. I think I said this on the show, just like stream of conscience, but I definitely mentioned it to like Renee and Tucker. Of like, I don't think I've like ever heard of deals this good from any cannabis company ever. Well, guys, it's getting a little bit better just for you and me and the people you want to tell about this deal, which you're welcome to do. But listen to this, folks. So the Black Friday deals, those are ongoing right now at Kansas City Cannabis. They got 5 KC area locations: KC North, Blue Springs, Kearney, Excelsior, and Lottawanna. 5 locations. They got doorbusters and raffles. The entire store is 25% off today. And what better day to go stock up than the one that we're on right now? Actually, I have one day that might be just, it's going to blow your mind. But that's ongoing right now. Doorbusters, raffles, Black Friday, 25% off the entire store. That's a crazy deal. And I told you Cyber Monday, December 1st, all online orders are 30% off. That's a crazy deal. remarkable. Again, if you want to go talk to the great bud tenders at Casey Cannabis, go today. Go right now. You can go in and talk to the bud tenders, ask them what's right for you, get the feeling of where you want to go, what you're curious about, what you need to learn, what you want to learn. They'll put you on the right path there. But if you just want to hop online on Monday, on Cyber Monday, December 1st, all online orders are already getting 30% off. And in addition, everything else listeners get an additional 5% off with promo code everything else, all one word. Everything else, all one word. You get an extra 5% off when checking out your basket on kccannabis.com. That's 35% off. That's unreal. Hello? A huge thanks to the folks at KC Cannabis. They have been an awesome partner of ours this season in what has been obviously a stressful Chiefs season. And this is an incredible offer, literally just for us here. So I am so glad to be able to offer that to you. If you want to go pick them up on Cyber Monday, you can put your order in at kccannabis.com, enter promo code everything else in your checkout. You get a total of 35% off everything in your basket. Then when you go pick up your order, tell them Josh sent you. Tell them everything else sent you. Maybe the bud tenders will know exactly what that means. Maybe they'll be very confused. Either way, that'll be a fun experience for everybody. Promo code everything else on your order on Monday. Cyber Monday at kccannabis.com. You get 35% off if you include the promo code everything else. Plus, again, the deal's ongoing today in store. Gonna be amazing. So you can go check them out in store today or online on Monday. kccannabis.com. Promo code everything else for 35% off. They've been awesome to work with. From our perspective, they are KC based, just as we are, and it's nice to all stick together in these trying times of football season. You know what? I am thankful for our friends at KC Cannabis. We'll take a time out. We'll come back with someone else I'm thankful for, and Tucker Franklin will join the show.
Looking for premium products in Kansas City? Whether you're new to the world of dispensaries or a seasoned enthusiast, we've got just what you're looking for. Proudly Kansas City owned and operated, with 5 convenient locations in Kearney, Blue Springs, Excelsior Springs, KC North, and Lake Lotawana. And our knowledgeable team can help educate and guide you so you can feel confident in every choice you make. Come see for yourself what makes us the most trusted name in Kansas City.
Tucker, I know you're also going to give us another good thing that people can get involved in now. I feel like it's what we need. Yeah. In fact, I did on postgame, I had a read for what the Chiefs are doing with another beneficiary of the KC community, and it was like, oh, this is nice. If you want to do some good this holiday season, right, here's an opportunity. We've got a killer one here at KCSN. Tell the people how they can get involved.
Boy, I'm super excited about this one. This is something that we've done for 5 years now. This is our 5th annual Soul of KC Raffle. If you're watching online, you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the graphic here, all the phenomenal prizes we have up for our raffle as well. You've got signed jerseys, you got signed mini helmets, you've got an Andy Reid signed card. That's a rare one. Travis Kelce, rookie card. A bunch of commemorative Chiefs items, as well as you got a signed Clark Griswold jersey, Mike Tyson punch-out poster and boxing gloves, Keanu Reeves signed Matrix poster, Michael B. Jordan signed Creed poster. You have a Taylor Swift poster and vinyl. You get also some great stuff from our friends at Tickets for Less, $1,000 credit there, Holiday Distillery bourbon pack, and then gift cards from our friends at Capital Grill and Tacos for Life as well. If you want any of those prizes and you want to also help out the kids at Operation Breakthrough have a great Christmas and help benefit their Christmas store with our friends in partnership with Dick's House of Sport, every single dollar that you spend will go to this. 1 ticket for $10, 5 tickets for $25, 15 for $50, 50 tickets for $100. That $100 option also comes with a 1-year subscription to KCSN.com. So and if you already have a subscription, you can gift it to somebody. You can it's a giving time of year, right? And I want to share this as well. You can purchase your tickets givebutter.com/KCSNSoul or Venmo KC Sports Network. That's through December the 4th. You can get that. BJ Kissel had just sent me this screenshot just a little bit ago, just before the break. I need to shout out Matthew Kittner, for the $500 donation on the Soul of KC raffle. Really do appreciate you guys with Operation Breakthrough. As I mentioned, every single dollar that you guys spend for this raffle goes into their Christmas store. Josh has been there from when we go do the shopping at Dick's Sporting Goods. It is like literally grabbing armfuls of, the nice Awala water bottles or the Yeti water bottles, throwing them in there for these kids, getting sweats, getting hoodies, shoes, throwing some of those stuff in there. So it's really helping out these kids who might not have the opportunity to have a good Christmas, helping them have a better Christmas as well for the Operation Breakthrough and their Christmas store. Really cool initiative that they do at Operation Breakthrough. Obviously, Travis Kelce does a lot of work with Operation Breakthrough. I believe that his My Cause, My Cleats was Operation Breakthrough.
I think so.
In the Ignition Lab that he helps head up there. But really cool stuff. We really do appreciate all of that help. And again, through December the 4th, links in the description. You can find that description of the audio, description of the YouTube as well. Go get that. Really do appreciate all the support.
I did, as I was looking at the graphic that time. I kid you not. I looked and I went, what is less credit? Why do we want less credit? Because it says $1,000 tickets for less credit. Thinking, why would we want tickets for less credit? Is there a place called less credit? That's where my brain's at. Just as like that's just me. Just tap the chest, hand up. I just don't know that I've got all the neurons where I want them all to be today. Right. But that's how this goes sometimes. Anything on, you've already done that football show. You're going to have plenty of places to continue getting all of your Chiefs related wiggles out. I have not listened to your guys' post-game show last night. I probably will, but I haven't yet. Anything from the first sort of chunk of today's show you want to underline before we get to the injury front, which is just as bad of news as it seems like the loss itself was?
I think a lot of the takeaways that I have from this game in the overall, Matt and I did a show, I think this was during the bye week when Vernon and I did the show of that football show of why every team in the NFL sucks. Right?
Yeah, that was a great episode. I loved that episode.
Thank you.
Great concept, great episode, bad football teams.
Yes, we went through every team, and as we said, told you why every team sucked. And the reason that we said the Chiefs sucked, this was before their bye week, right? During their bye week, I guess. Before that week of football game started, we said the Chiefs sucked because they were inconsistent. You didn't know which football team was going to show up. And boy, howdy, has that proven to be true since we talked about that. It is so wild. Maybe a lot of the things I have from this game are more big picture, right? When I start to think about, really start to break down this game, and it was the same stuff, right? It was the same stuff. And again, to go back to the title of this year's show, it's the same issues. It was nothing new. Nothing was surprising about how that went. It was like, oh, the defense can't get home because of a pass rush. I'm shocked. George Karlaftis doesn't have a sack since October. Man,
is that right? And 2 games in a row without the Chiefs getting a sack of any sort, by the way. Again, Jones was excellent against Indy, but 2 weeks in a row, no sacks.
That's the other thing, going back to the consistency part of it, is it felt like that their defense was like, all right, they go up against the number 1 offense in the league, and they look insane. And then they go up against, now I will say, Dallas is a good offense, right?
Very. They
have backup tackles in. I do want to remind you, they got backup tackles in. They've got a really good, I think Dak's a good quarterback. I think Dak gets defecated on probably more than he should. And I think he's got good wide receivers with Pickens. CeeDee Lamb is incredible. Trent McDuffie probably played the worst pro football game of his life, even amateur maybe. I don't even know if he's played a Pop Warner game worse than that one. That one was pretty brutal. CeeDee Lamb was bullying him all the way down the field, and I understand that there were some push-offs and some pretty bad calls, but those withstanding, the ones that weren't called, very bad. It was not a great game, not a great showing. So it's so confusing, this team of okay, 1 week they'll show up and they'll have a Herculean defensive effort. And Patrick Mahomes will do just enough to push them over the line to win a game in overtime against an AFC contender, right? And then the next week they go out and they can't stop a nosebleed. They're punting in plus territory, which also doesn't make any sense because your defense can't stop a nosebleed. And you're like, you know what we're going to do? Give them the ball back. And Kent brought this up on the post-game show. I'm pretty sure it was Kent. I wonder if Brandon Aubrey's leg played a factor in some of those punting decisions, because they tried to stop me if you heard this before. Andy Reid tried to big brain it of okay, well, if we go for it and don't get it here, they only have to go 10 or 15 yards to get into Aubrey territory before they can try to kick that field goal. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them, we're going to pin them down, and then we're going to have them run 4 plays to get to where we were. Right. And then they're in Aubrey territory and in more plays. So that's what was frustrating to me is it was the same stuff, the same, I don't want to say same personnel things because, there were some different personnel things. Chris Wallace was out. Jamar Conner in the slot, that was the same. That was pretty fun to see him on CD Lamb. But that's what's so frustrating about this year. And this team has labored to get to 500. This team has labored to stay around 500. And I don't know, big picture wise, if you want to kind of go down that avenue, I don't know how you can look at the rest of the schedule, big picture wise, see how this team has played this year and feel like they have a 44% chance to make the playoffs.
I do want to talk about that. I think that's Monday's show. I think fair. That is going to just be like the engine of, because we're going to have a Monday after another weekend of action. Maybe I'll feel slightly differently. I felt slightly differently after watching the Ravens just like confirm that they're also not a serious team.
That, by the way,
I don't know.
That was crazy.
I don't know. 14 points against a defense that you talk about not being able to stop a nosebleed. I don't know. Lamar has not looked right since he's been back. The Ravens have looked bad. I don't know. I watched that game. I thought, if you restarted the season today, I think the Bengals are probably better than the Ravens and Chiefs and maybe the Bills. But I snap of a finger. It's unbelievable. So again, I want to talk about the playoff picture and all of that as we go forward. Let's hit the injuries real quick because this is man. You want to talk about reasons that I'm not optimistic about the Texans. What they have next week, 10 days to get ready. So you get extra time for Trey Smith, who obviously didn't play in this one. Extra time for Jawan Taylor, who was ruled out with an elbow. Andy Reid said he strained his tricep after the game, so
which is arguably worse than elbow, I would say.
Yeah, it seemed bad. You can't really brace the tricep in a way that you can brace the joint, I wouldn't think. So yeah, not great. And look, Jalen Moore he wasn't very good yesterday. Some of the grades for the pass block grades for all 3 of the replacement linemen were like dark red. I mean, it was like apocalyptic.
Mike Caliendo had a 0 in true pass block, in true pass sets. A 0.
I don't know how that happens.
He had a 10 in regular pass blocking. 10.5. Sorry, I should be fair.
I'll go ahead and hit it now. You know what Mike Caliendo did do yesterday? This is this is getting too earnest. Let me get hold on. I want to make sure that I get the actual credit of this down because I do appreciate this in a way that most people may or may not. Mike Caliendo, Drew Tranquill, and Charles Omenihu took about 2 minutes of questions from Danon Hughes and Josh Klingler, who sent those in for our post-game show. I know other guys ended up at the podium and all of that. Yeah. Mike Caliendo went out there, got his ass kicked, and when Danon walked up and presumably said, "Hey, man, you got 2 minutes?" He said yes. This is an uncommon place for this Chiefs team to be. These players do not lose a lot of football games.
Right.
Mike Caliendo has spent most of this season as the 6th lineman. He went out there for the Super Bowl last year and the playoff push with a guard playing next to him, and now he's replacing Joe Thuney. I'm saying got his ass kicked, not in that he just wasn't doing. I mean, just a brutal, incredibly difficult assignment multiple times. Yeah. And so I actually do I didn't have a real opinion on a whole lot of I haven't met Mike Caliendo. I don't know a lot about him as a person or whatever. Tranquill, Omenihu, and Caliendo, they did not have much to say. They didn't have any answers, but they hung around and took some questions after a miserable end to that football game. So I really do appreciate that. Obviously, the offensive line, though, not good enough in this game. And Ian Rappaport has had the two tweets here. This one was one from last night and then an update this morning. Last night he said, Chiefs left tackle Josh Simmons suffered a dislocated and fractured wrist, sources say. He left the stadium in a cast and is out indefinitely. MRI tomorrow, then he'll seek opinions on treatment options. And then Rappaport tweeted about 7:30 today. a significant injury for Josh Simmons, who will now likely head to IR. That's a 4-game minimum on injured reserve, and there are 5 games left. So, yeah, I mean, hey, look, if they make a push and he's available for the playoffs, awesome. That also could be broken and fractured. We might not be talking about 4 weeks. We might be talking about next season either way. I don't know.
Right.
And Nate Taylor was able to confirm some of that. He was the first one to report, I believe, that Simmons was leaving the locker room in a cast. Anyway, also, just as a little bookkeeping measure, 36-year-old Travis Kelce played 144 snaps in 5 days. It was 60 snaps against the Cowboys, 84 snaps against the Colts. Just, that's not a take. Just doing the math there. 36-year-old Travis Kelce played 144 offensive snaps in 5 calendar days.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Crazy.
What's even crazier is that, like, he's still probably their most efficient offensive weapon, which makes me so upset about how they've constructed this team. And it is, I want people to be clear. This is not Travis Kelce's fault.
No.
It's not Travis Kelce's fault that he's playing 100 and some odd snaps.
It's genuinely amazing.
Yes. No. Hats off to Travis Kelce for being on pace to still have over 1,000 yards. He has 700 yards so far this season at age 36. Like, that is crazy. Ken Swanson's not doing that. I mean, like that's defying the odds in a lot of ways. I don't even know how old Kent is. Maybe that was unfair for me to do that to Kent.
No, you're close for sure. I don't know exactly, but it's close. We didn't listen. I'm 30, and Kent and I didn't cross over at MNU, and typically, I think he was in school for 4 years. So,
you know what? I'll send a text real quick, but I just want to say that I think there's, I think there's an interesting conversation about Travis Kelce to be had.
I thought it was about an interesting conversation about Kent Swanson's age to be had.
Yes, I don't know. Like, if he wants to come back for 1 and 5, sure. But does he actually want to do that, though?
I think that's going to be fascinating. I had talked about that privately a little bit. I think just like with like Seth and Nate. Like, I wasn't like sourcing anything. Did we text about this in the Weird Games chat? If so, I'm comfortable saying I think we like threw it out there somewhere with a couple of weeks ago of like, hey, so if this season doesn't turn around, do you think Kelce's interested in coming back for another year of this, or is he ready to go be one of the most famous people in the world, get married to arguably the top 5 famous person in the world, and, you know, he'll make plenty of money that way. But also, it seemed like, I don't know this for a fact, but it seemed like he might have walked after a Super Bowl win last year, and you go out on top and you ride into the sunset. Like, that feels like kind of the best case scenario for how you end a career like that. Would have been on the 3-peat and everything. Like, so I don't know, but I wondered that about last year. Like, at some point he said, like, couldn't go out like that, or something like that was the terminology. Is Kent like 32?
No, I looked it up. No, he's 36.
Nailed it, dude! Incredible.
That's right. That was my reaction there. I went and I searched the databases and I found out how old he was. He didn't respond to my text, but yeah, Facebook. Yeah.
So yeah, I am also kind of curious about that. We need to take another break, right? Did we talk about how sad the O-line made us? Yeah. Bryant Cook ankle. Right. That was a problem, and then we mentioned the tackles. Really bad day to have 3/5 of your O-line potentially down against the Texans on Sunday, if that's what... Mercifully not this Sunday, although I'm surprised the NFL didn't try. You know, hey, you guys want to go Sunday, Thursday, Sunday? What'd they do, 3 games in 11 days last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it felt a little lax. Let's go ahead and ratchet these suckers up. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing, is I think there are going to be some interesting big picture conversations about this team. I just didn't want to be having any of them here at the end of November, you know? Like, that's just a tough spot to be in. Let's take our second timeout, and then we'll come back and just talk about something else, anything else, everything else.
Missouri, big news. It's almost your turn to get in the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. Soon you'll get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. No wonder it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. The countdown is on. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply, subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are not withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
The Chiefs are 4.5-point favorites against the Texans. Wow.
You'll be able to bet on that at DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way.
In Missouri.
In Missouri.
You sure will. Wow. I'm very... If a point wouldn't have surprised me. It's home and the Chiefs trying to stay alive and they don't lose at Arrowhead.
This is a completely different team at home, which is so insane. Like, this team is a completely different team at home than it is.
Why? Why? Why is that true? I don't know. I don't think they know. I don't think anyone. Why? Why is that so? Is that just noise? It's just small sample size. You don't play 162 games. You play 17, so crazy things happen. Or is there? God, I don't know. How was your Thanksgiving? Other than the football parts.
Yeah. Football parts notwithstanding.
This question goes to everybody. This is a time, if you're in the chat today and you're a soldier out here for the final segment of a show after a sad loss, I want to know how your Thanksgiving was.
Yeah, my Thanksgiving was good. Tara and I hosted. I think I kept you guys up to date with bird pictures of the bird.
Dude,
we had brisket as well.
I was impressed.
Yeah, my dad smoked the brisket, which shout out to Batchelder Family Farms for the brisket as well. It was insane. We ate early. We did the early, like 12:30 is what we did, so we had everything done and cleared by the Chiefs game at 3 o'clock. I saw Carrington was tweeting about, like, my mom just put the bird in the oven. It was like 2:30, and I was like, "Jeez, you guys aren't eating until nighttime.
They're not eating until the Ravens season's over."
Yeah, right. So I mean, it was good. I love that. Tyrion
in the chat says A+ Thanksgiving, nailed the turkey.
Yes. Thank you for the call out. Tyrion, I did the same thing where I was proud of my turkey and how the turkey came out. When you make a turkey, it's a lot of work. Number one.
I've never made a whole turkey. I like cooking. Never even attempted this.
It's intimidating, and this was the second time I've made a bird. The first time I did it last year, we hosted Friendsgiving last year, which I think is a little bit different than hosting like your friend on Thanksgiving with your family. That's a little bit different. Like the crowd noise was
the stadium pulse.
Yeah, the stadium pulse was up a little bit higher. So like Tara got up at I think she got up at 3 because she was nervous and anxious about everything. But I got up around like 6.
This Chiefs season's affected all of us different ways.
I know. I got up around 6 and started this turkey. Started getting it ready to go, and I was up until 2:30 last night. Didn't nap or anything in between. Wow. Even had the big meal. Yeah, so I had quite the day with getting that football show done, obviously, and then the post-game show, hanging out with some family in between the time of like when the post-game show ended, obviously, and then doing that football show. But
so did you have family upstairs when you went down to do that football show and post-game and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, the vibes there had to be crazy.
I guess they were watching the post-game show on the TV upstairs. I didn't realize that, awesome. Which is hilarious. So they were hearing me yell, and then they were getting the delay, obviously, of me upstairs and yelling upstairs, which is good. But no, this is our first time hosting. I think everything went really well. We had so much food just because, like, we had about 10 people over. We didn't know how much food, like, you need for 10 people, right?
Yeah,
like
also a challenge.
And
I imagine, yes, you... Look, if you're gonna miss,
yes,
have leftovers. Don't send family home hungry on Thanksgiving. That sucks.
Yeah, so like we weren't gonna try to do any loaves and fishes or anything like that, right? not the right holiday for that one. And I do think that it all went well. People appreciated it. And I truthfully kind of liked it because I mean, selfishly, it is a lot of work to like gave us a reason to actually deep clean our house, which was good to see how filthy we were as human beings. That was nice to kind of get to do that. And then that gave us that excuse. But then like when it was done, like we were home. We didn't have to go anywhere after that. So that was kind of sick. So
that's awesome, actually.
That's what I appreciated about it. So I think we're going to make it a tradition where we host Thanksgiving.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Tara was really down for it. I might try to get like a smoker in between now and then and maybe like smoke the turkey. I know that our friend Keith, Dusty Roads Barbecue, was like on me about not smoking the turkey. He's like, you got to smoke the bird. You got to smoke the bird. And I was like, Keith, I know I don't have a smoker. I have a propane Weber grill right now.
And I think it's okay. I think you just, year one, just hit it straight. Right. Year one, get on base. Yes, put the ball in play. Yes. Year two, you can start maybe. I was thinking, like, I think if you're just like, Josh, quick, you're going to make it. You have to make a turkey. It's got to be delicious. What are you doing? You know what? I'm gonna figure out how to deep fry this sucker. Like that's the temptation for me. Is I am interested in that. Just not how my family's ever done it. And again, I don't. It's not my domain.
Yeah, no, making a bird is fun. I did enjoy it. I really do enjoy the whole process. And it's the same thing with like smoking meats, right? Or anything that takes a really long time, meat wise. Slow cooking something, there's like a care that goes into it.
Yeah.
Right? The little bit of like care and ownership that goes into it. So it's always nice, as Tyrion said, like you feel good when you hit the bird. Like this one was really good. We did like we injected it and everything, so we had like butter all in it. It was very good turkey. Excited to go upstairs and make me a sandwich here after a little while. But yeah, it was. How was your Thanksgiving, Josh?
I posted the only picture I took yesterday on my Instagram stories a little bit earlier, just me and my family, Nick Springer. And it was we spent Nick and I spent like 10-ish hours in a room together. Enjoyed some food brought to the station. And
what did they bring? Did they bring Thanksgiving type food, or was it just regular food?
No, I appreciate our friends at the other place very much for hooking us up with like the pizza and stuff. They're in the regular rotation of our we get Jefferson's and the other place alternate, and Hy-Vee will bring some things as well. But yeah, I mean obviously it's a holiday for everybody. We're working, and so I was grateful to have any loaves or fish. No actual fish, ultimately, right. which was for the best. I don't think I was in the mood.
Fish in a studio would have not been a good call.
Not a good idea, no. Yeah. So no, it was, honestly, I did a Friendsgiving, like, earlier this month, and then we did a Thanksgiving with Renee's family a week or so ago. And then I just kind of made yesterday just like Thursday in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think tonight and tomorrow I'm gonna just try to I'm gonna get my thankful on, and I'm gonna hit some leftovers or whatever. I mentioned this Monday probably. We have not yet watched the new episode of Till Death Do Us Blart, the annual Eternal podcast that I endorse wholeheartedly. So Renee and I finished. I listened through every year of those just in the last like couple of weeks leading up to this, and so tonight we'll watch the this year's version. Man, I want to talk about this podcast, but to talk about it to people who haven't consumed the entire thing is just insane. To be like, last year the two guys from New Zealand flew to Las Vegas and the three Americans stayed home, is like an unbelievable twist on just by the time you get, it's just delightful. But yeah, so we'll do that tonight, and Renee made some Trader Joe's Chinese food that we had capped. And you know what, this will be a good way to cap off just like a very weird Thanksgiving, kind of a takeout Chinese food kind of thing. But shout out to the Trader Joe's orange chicken. I've thought for a while that I would do some Trader Joe's food reviews on this show, because we are an expert household in that regard. That'll probably be an off-season addition to the show rundown. I'll tell you what's good and what's maybe not so good, but Trader Joe's does not miss very often, I'll tell you that.
It really doesn't. And they do really good, like single serving stuff, and that's what I think I've talked to you guys about this before. Jordan Foote is a big Trader Joe's guy as well.
Yeah.
I think we've had the conversation of I think Trader Joe's is very good for like single serving things, but like if you have a family, you're probably not shopping at Trader Joe's because you don't want to buy 5 single serving things.
Right,
because
they
at that
got like
point-
the orange chicken thing. Like it's like 4 servings. Well, hey, what we're gonna
wow.
cook half of this. We're gonna put half of it back in the freezer, and we're gonna do this again in a couple days.
I didn't realize it was that big. Nice.
It's the orange chicken one is. I'll get you more details on the Trader Joe's reviews as we get there. And then we basically also, Renee and I essentially faked our Thanksgiving on Wednesday. I'll give the free hat tip. I'll talk more about it next time we're out there, but Tucker knows.
Yeah.
I sent him pictures and I gave him a rundown. On Wednesday night, Renee and I finally, for the first time, went to the Majestic, not to do a podcast, but to eat food, listen to live jazz, drink drinks. Oh, brother. Oh my goodness. I literally I wrote down what we got so I can talk about it the next time that we're there and I can give you the review. I'll tell you, we went to the Majestic, we went and saw Wicked for Good, which we'll talk about on Monday. I think we'll make that our free. We get another, because maybe by then we can do some spoilies. It'll have been out for a long time, and if you care a lot about Wicked,
That'll be
you've
2
probably
weekends,
caught
right?
up.
Right.
I think so.
Weekends, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Tucker had already seen it. Renee and I went and saw it on Wednesday and then went to the Majestic. And I'm pretty sure I had the 2 best steaks I've ever had in my life. Because Renee and I got 2 different ones. And I've told you how much the vibes rule and how cool of a building that is and everything. I assumed that the food would meet that mark. But I have thought about the mashed potatoes that we had there. I have thought about those every few hours since we left. And I have thought about those 2 steaks every few hours since we left. Just absolutely remarkable. So there you go. An extra little shout out to the Majestic because they deserve it, man. And great service all the way through. Obviously, we know Nick from our times out there, but the whole staff was awesome and just really that ended up being that was the festive thing that Renee and I did this week was little Wicked movie night and hit the Majestic and just get so full of the best beef we've ever had that it was I think we fell asleep at 9:30. It was one of those, and it was I was thankful for that. That was a delight.
That's incredible. I do need. Tara and I were already kind of scoping out a pre-Christmas, pre-holiday type dinner. I think you guys did it right with the pre-Thanksgiving type.
It was
dinner.
perfect. It worked out great.
Yeah, that's so really cool. The pictures you sent me of the jazz club, I think I was already kind of leaning towards trying to make a reservation down there in the jazz club, but that just kind of cemented that's what I wanted to do. Was any scatting going on, or just all instruments? All instruments?
No. It was piano, stand-up bass, and the drums. No skibbity bop bop dibbity boop boop. The stand-up bass was so cool. I mean, it was the music was awesome. The vibes were great. It was delightful. It feels like that was a month ago because of how long of a day I had yesterday.
Right.
Which I'm sure you understand wholeheartedly. But I would go back tonight if Renee was like, yeah, let's go back tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're back open. And yeah, I feel like I'm almost hungry again from the first time through. Oh, we have carrot cake in the fridge we haven't eaten yet. That's for tonight. That's for Paul Blart, for Till Death Do Us Blart night. We've got the carrot cake that was recommended to us from our waiter. He's like, do you guys want dessert? I was like, listen, man, I had every intention of getting a dessert. I looked at the menu online. I was thinking well, we're going to get a dessert. And right now, sir, I am so full that I'm concerned about getting back to the car. He was like, we can give it to you to go. I said, bring me the menu.
Yeah.
And then we looked at the menu and I was like, you said carrot cake? He's like, yeah, let's do the carrot cake. So just absolutely delightful.
That is that's great. We're decorating Christmas today is what we're doing.
I'm going to try to push myself into a little bit of Christmas cheer this weekend too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, decorating Christmas tree will probably go up tonight. I'm going to work on a lot of podcast stuff obviously today, getting all that stuff, but Tara's off of work, so she is we're going to be decorating for Christmas and then turning the page on this year. Doing our best to turn a page here on this here game and everything. I think tomorrow we're going to a movie. We're seeing Eternity. Not even an idea of what that is. Don't even think I've seen a trailer there. Perfect. It's a love triangle movie. It's her husband. This lady dies, and both of her husbands. I have seen this. Seen this. Sorry, go ahead. I have seen the trailer. Lady dies. Both of her husbands are already dead, but she has to choose which one she wants to spend eternity with. Yeah. And both of them,
Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, Callum Turner. Don't know who that is.
Yeah, Callum Turner, Miles Teller, both really handsome gentlemen. So like tough choice for her.
Yeah.
I envy her choice.
I'd love to spend eternity with Miles Teller.
Right, yeah. If you gave me Miles Teller, I'd say yes.
Tara comes storming down the stairs. How dare you? I want to spend eternity with Miles Teller.
Right, yeah.
That's the love triangle.
We would have to fight over Miles Teller.
Miles Teller is choosing between you two. You know what you don't have to choose between? A great deal, great service, great products at Kansas City Cannabis. Their Black Friday deal is ongoing today. Cyber Monday, you can get 35% off at kccannabis.com with the promo code everything else. All one word. Huge fan of them and so thankful for them being a part of this program and for delivering an even extra special deal for the Vibes Hunters here. So you don't have to hunt anymore for the vibes at KC Cannabis. 35% off on Monday. Enjoy the Black Friday deals if you get out there in the store today. It's all 25% off. And we will take a little bit of time off, and then we'll be back on Cyber Monday for free. It'll be everything else will be 100% off on Monday because it's always free to enjoy this show. Well, it's free to watch this show. It might cost you something to enjoy this show, but that's between you and yourself. Plus a Friday edition of Only Weird Games. We got a Friday. When's the lab going out? Is the lab going out today?
So, okay, you guys are recording. You and the lab. Lab is already recorded. That show's going tomorrow.
They did it. Okay, so lab's going up tomorrow.
Yeah, so you guys are also going up tomorrow.
Oh, really? Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's a double header.
So we've got a doubleheader Saturday edition of the lab and Only Weird Games on Saturday to break this all down. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that hopefully we can help you out and bridge that gap today. We'll have a doubleheader edition of sort of sad Chiefs podcasts for you tomorrow, and we'll see if we can bring the vibes back for Monday. Appreciate AC in the chat saying, Josh and Tucker, always my favorite streams. Thank you very much. Genuinely, I have not, like I said, I've kind of forgotten about it being Thanksgiving by and large. Very, very thankful for the fact that this show's gotten off to a really fun start, even as the football has not been as fun as it's been in years past. And incredibly, incredibly thankful for everyone hanging out in the chat, listening on the podcast side. If you really like this show and you want to keep it rolling, tell somebody about it. I know if they're a Chiefs fan and you're like, hey, do I have a podcast for you? You're probably going to go, but yeah, the Chiefs just lost and I'm sad. Maybe this show made your day a little bit better. If so, tell somebody else about it. Even though the football hasn't been what we want, the shows I've been quite happy with. So with a big thank you to everyone who's been along for the ride, and the biggest of thank yous to Tucker D. Franklin, I'm Joshua Brisco. Bye, Mom! I forgot we usually talk over this. I've just been talking so much.
I think it's okay if we just let this one breathe.
That's a good point. I do love talking, though.
It's more fun than not talking.
It really is. I love a good moment of silence, but not a lot of moments of silence.
Right. A moment of silence.
A single moment of silence, ranging from 10 to 15 seconds. And then I probably have something else to say.